Okay, 3, 2, 1, boom. We are back, and I'm very excited about today's guest. Mr. Billy Moore, you've had an incredible life. You've got an incredible story. Massive thank you for coming on, mate. We just had a good chat. We just done your podcast talking about my career and my life. Now we're going to talk about your life, which has been absolutely unbelievable. Thank you for coming on, mate. I hope you're well. How are you?
Brilliant, and it's a pleasure, mate. I feel really blessed to be sitting here and being interviewed by a legend himself.
Oh, thank you, mate. Thank you very much. Before we get into it, we've just got a few sponsor shout-outs to do. So the first one is Board Wolf, independent clothing company from the UK. I'm wearing one of their t-shirts from the Sid and Nancy range now. You can visit their website. Schoolie, you're going to pull that up for us just on here. It's boardwolf.com. This is a really nice t-shirt, to be fair. It's a really good fit, and the design's pretty cool as well. It's the first time I've seen it just now, and it is really comfortable. So if you're looking for some fresh clothing, check out boardwolf.com. Obviously, we also have the Manscaped products. The Weed Whacker. You know, everyone who watches the podcast knows about this. I talk about it all the time. The Lawnmower 3.0, the Weed Whacker, the shears, all kinds of stuff going on here. This is the Weed Whacker. This is for your nose hair and your ear hair. Billy, obviously, we're going to be talking about your time in Thai prisons in this one. This could have been something that might have been decent when you're in there, because I'm guessing there wasn't much going on for your grooming where you were in there, mate. But having said that, you probably won't want to be all smooth in a place like that, would you really, to be fair? This is the Lawnmower 3.0. Great for your grooming, your whole body. Nose and hair, Weed Whacker. Shears, these are for your nails. It's a portable grooming kit. You can take this one anywhere with you. Don't forget, if you use the code KICKIN, you will get 20% off all products. And hey, we've even got ball deodorant in here. Ball deodorant, like Schoolie, who runs a podcast, who sat in there, he said not the other day, well, you put it under your armpits, so why not put it on your balls? So yeah, 20% off, code KICKIN. Right, that's enough of that. Let's get into it, mate. Again, massive thank you for coming on. You've got an incredible story. Obviously, you're a Liverpool lad. Do you want to just start from the beginning? Because obviously, you are the author of the book, A Prayer Before Dawn. There's been a film made on your life, which I'm guessing that our audience, nearly everyone's seen that. Nearly everyone involved in Muay Thai or Thai boxing has seen that film. We've got the real Prayer Before Dawn right in front of us now. Obviously, that film is about your time in Thai prisons. Let's start from the beginning. You're a Liverpool lad. What was it like growing up in Liverpool? Obviously, you're a boxer as well. How did you get into boxing and stuff like that? Where did that all stem from?
It all stemmed from, like, my dad growing up. My dad was quite violent. He was drinking a lot of alcohol. And the house was very volatile. And I always wanted to be loved and liked and wanted just by my dad. He was my hero. Even though he beat me up, he was still my hero. And he'd have these boxing magazines lying around, and I thought, if I joined boxing, then he might take a bit of notice and might even acknowledge me. And I joined this local boxing club in Speak called it was the St Ambrose ABC. I was really young. I must have been about 9, 10. And I remember getting in the ring for a spar that first day I got in. Paul King was the trainer, and he got us in the ring, and we had to put our hands up. And as I knew, he said to me, "You've got a good defence." Because I wasn't getting it. Because that's all I'd ever been. I'd been punched by my dad and put my hands up. And I'm talking as young as that. And I don't want to put my dad down in a bad light. You know, growing up, you know, we had a team, and it was what it was back then. You know, as it was sad. But it kind of...
You reckon did that make you then like a fighter? Did that rub off on you?
No, I was one of those kids who was dead skinny with little knobbly knees, had loads of freckles. I got skittered at school. I got called shit splash and cornflakes, and you know, because I was caked in these fucking these freckles, and you know, it affected my self-esteem. And I used to go to school, and my mum would come home crying. I go, "Mum, they're skitting me and they're giving me an hard time in school." And she went, "Son, that's the sign of beauty, and you've got freckles. You're blessed." I used to go to school and say, "Look, it's the sign of beauty." My mum told me, "You fucking mum's a liar." You know, so I had
young though, that it fucks your confidence up, stuff like that, like big time, doesn't it? When you're in school and getting shit like that.
It's always like what happens as a young child contributes to how your life pans out, and that's the truth for me anyway. Right, it put me on a path of like resentment. I felt isolated, I felt separated, I didn't feel like I belonged in my own family sometimes. I always wanted to escape from the household, and I'd be standing on street corners, and and that's it was that choice of like having a career in boxing or having a career in criminality. There was a very thin line between my journey in life.
So you've walked through that boxing gym when you were 9-10 years old-ish.
Yeah.
How did this carry on all through in your teens and everything like that?
Well,
you said you're on street corners as well. Were you mixing them both together a little bit?
So I joined a boxing club for a couple of months initially, and then I joined karate. But it was the era of Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon. It was that kind of decade. Shotogun, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't feel like I'd be a team player in that area. I went back to boxing, and I had a good few fights. Boxed for England schoolboys and the NABCs.
You thought you were telling me about a fight over in Ireland as well that you went to.
Yeah, we boxed in Cavan. We went over as a team in from the UK to Ireland, and we boxed over there. It was the first time I got beat. And we talked about this before, and it affected my self-esteem and my confidence, and because I thought like you said earlier on, I was unbeatable. Yeah, you win, your confidence, and then you get complacent, and then you lose, and it has a big negative impact on how you are going forward. Yeah, massively.
When did you start really getting into a bit of trouble on the streets and stuff then? Were you in your teens when that started to come around, and what sort of stuff were you getting up to?
See, I was in my teens, and I was quite late at starting drugs. Because I was training and I was disciplined and I was into a routine, I started getting involved in drugs when I was about 15. It was a bit of cannabis, standing on street corners. And you call it peer pressure, calling it doing something to fit in. It was what it was back then. I had to go over spliff. Felt like I was part of something. It made me laugh. And then that kind of led on to magic mushrooms. And, before I knew it, I snowballed into addiction with Class A's. Yeah. By the time I was 16, I was a heroin addict.
Oh, really?
So I was a heroin addict at the age of 16.
Were you still training as well as doing this, or was it just?
No.
Yeah.
See, it started. I lost interest in sports. I lost interest in anything really.
Yeah, it's a bad drug, isn't it? So
16, 17, I was addicted.
Yeah, it's a fucking young age, isn't it? That.
Yeah. Do you know what? I didn't realise how young it was. To be. Yeah. Because if it was like this day and age, I'd probably be addicted to spice or whatever. The name of the drug was back then, you know what I mean? If I lived in a village, it'd probably be the village drunk. I don't know. I just felt that.
Have you got an addictive personality then?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. It's, I used to escape reality. Yeah. I couldn't face the feelings I was up against with me dad and the family. So it's used to suppress a lot of fear and anger.
Were you scared of your dad then?
I was terrified. Yeah. I was terrified, Liam. I was, he was a big man. I was small, and he was like a Victorian dad. He had a big role to play in my life, to be fair. Yeah, in the way it turns out.
So 16, 17, addicted to heroin. When did the first time you end up in jail then in Liverpool? When was this?
It was 17 years old, and I got remanded to a young offenders institute for robbery. I'd been taking this drug for quite some time, 6 or 7 months. There was a time when I never had it, and I felt the effects of withdrawal, and I didn't understand what it was. Yeah. And I was, I needed money to fund this habit that I developed, and I went out and committed this crime, and I got arrested, and I was put in a young offenders institute, and from then on, it just became like that, a cycle, a never-ending cycle of like prisons, institutions, almost premature death and stuff like that. There was a lot
The first time you got arrested, then did you end up going cold turkey in there? Were you able to get hold of it inside and stuff? Or?
No, the first time I got arrested, it was just cold turkey. I was remanded for a week. I got bail. It was the worst week of my life. It was horrendous. I was climbing the walls. I couldn't sleep. I had diarrhea.
Yeah, I've heard loads of stories about it, but I don't think I've ever spoke to someone about what it's actually like.
It was like the experience is like you don't sleep.
Yeah.
Right, your body is on fire. You know, it's the most uncomfortable feeling you could ever experience. You know, and it affect your mental health. You know, because you'd have the psychosis.
Yeah.
Because you're not sleeping, are you? So it was like, it's not the best, to put it that way.
So you said this like kicked off a vicious cycle. How many times did you end up going back to jail then, in your teens and your early 20s, etc.? Were this just like on and off, in, out?
Yeah, I think it spends about 22 years in prison behind the door in my lifetime. In and out of institutions. I mean, I'm not saying 22 years cumulative, like as one sentence. It was 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, 18 months, a year. It was just in and out. You know, I'd come out of jail, I'd be out for 3 months, I'd be back in again. I think prison back then saved my life. In a sense, it was more like a health farm. You know, I'd regenerate, I'd get myself back into shape. I'd be eating right food because I'm outside. I'm just using drugs. I'm doing things that I don't want to do, and I'm going to places that I don't want to go. And, you know, I've got an allergic reaction to drugs. You know, I don't break out in lumps and bumps. I break out in handcuffs, prisons, you know, and misery and pain. This is what happens to me, Liam. You know, I take a drug and I become someone else.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a lot of people do, don't they? And that's what, like you mentioned there, it's the escape, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of people suffer with stuff that are going on in their lives and they need to do this just to escape reality for a little bit. But like you said, it's a snowball effect. You start off on something lower and you start off on worse things and it just snowballs and snowballs until it's out of control and you can't control it.
Yeah. If I look back now, I think to myself, you know what, if I never planned on having a career in drug addiction and prison sentences, that wasn't, you know, what I wanted. I wanted to join the army. I wanted to box for England. I wanted to box. I wanted to become a champion. Yeah. That's the reality. I wanted to. I was quite I think it was quite like athletic as a youth. You know what I mean? I used to run a lot. You know, I had weights when I was 11 years old. Big water weights. Yeah. My mum bought me them. Everyone else was getting Millennium Falcons from Star Wars and BMXs, and I was getting weights. You know, that was a bit of a concern for me mum back then. You know what I mean? Well, yeah.
So you mentioned prison saved your life.
Yeah.
You were saying you were obviously bad on the streets when you're drugs, etc., etc. Was there any like really bad experiences when you were going inside to these prisons in England, or was this more for like a time when you were just like say getting off the drugs and recovering and getting in the gym a little bit, or were there any really bad experiences while you were inside?
Oh, there's a lot of bad experiences. I mean, you do collect experiences if you've been to prison for that long. I mean, you know, there was one in Leeds. This is what sort of like one of the significant moments in my life. I remember being in Walton prison. I spoke about this earlier on. I was in HMP Walton, and they were giving me all kinds of medication, and you know, people were getting cut up and slashed, and you know, there's a lot of gangs fighting with each other, and I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was fed up, and I remember going on exercise yard. It was the hottest day of the year, 2003. And we decided to have a sit-off, which for anyone who doesn't know what a sit-off is, we were going to stay out. We were going to rebel against the prison system, and we weren't going to go back into our cells. So we all refused to come off the yard. And that refusal turned into, should we get on the roof? So, good idea, we'll get on the roof. We all climbed up on the roof. I was like the third person to climb up. Someone had made the rope out of brown sheets, climbs up. And at the time, people were climbing up quite easily, and then it was me. I was the oldest out of all these inmates at the time. And I remember I was 25, and I remember climbing up, and I was halfway up, and I remember the screw call, Mr. Muscle, shouting, "You'll never get up there, you fat ass!" And I fell off the roof. I fell halfway down. I landed on my ass. It was fucking painful, and all that shame was kicking in. I thought, I've got to get up. It turns in, I climbed up again, and I was exhausted. I was halfway up again. I thought, I'm going to fall. right? And it just turns into like something like a North Sea rescue. All the lads on top of the roof were like, get him up, because he's just going to make a show of us, get him up. And he got me up. And the minute I got up, I stood on the roof and he had my hands up like Rocky Balboa, and the whole prison were like screaming, and the windows were banging and go, hey, Billy, and I felt like a superstar.
This is the same roof that Charles Bronson were on, isn't it?
Yeah, it was,
one.
yeah.
And you told me earlier, you actually wrote to him and he replied, didn't you? Because you beat his record for press-ups.
I beat his records when I was in HMP Stafford. I'd been transferred to a lot of facilities, and I was banged over for 24 hours a day, similar to him, but probably because I was younger as well.
Yeah.
I wrote him a letter. I told him, look, I don't know whether it did, but I believe it did.
Yeah.
Right. And I said, I beat your records. And he wrote me a letter back and he went, fucking hell, Bill. You're madder than me, you scousers. Yeah. And just congratulated me. There was nothing in it. He drew me this picture, and he was That's
class.
The picture was a bit bizarre. It was like it was a picture of him with a camera sticking out of his head and all kinds of crazy gear. That must have been the mental state of his mind at the time, know what I mean?
Yeah. So, obviously, you've had this shit going on in your life in England, like it's revolving in and out, in and out. When did you decide is that why you decided to go to Thailand, just to get away from all that lifestyle?
No, it was, I was in Armley, Leeds.
Right.
I was on an 8-man unlock in segregation. I'd been in a segregation for about 8 months. Isolation. Wasn't getting up my shell.
What was that for?
That was for the rooftop.
Oh, for the rooftop.
Rooftop protest. We'd been shanghaied from Walton Prison. There was about 14 inmates, and we got dispersed all over the country. Some went to London, some went down south, some went right up north. I went to Armley. 3 of us went to Armley, and we were down the block. Down the block, we were on a GOAD, which is good order and discipline. And you get reviewed once a month. But I was down there for 8 months. The screws would come to your door, there'd be an SO, a PO, and there'd be 4 screws and 2 screws behind him.
If you notice, sorry to interrupt you, but Armley, he's literally
Is it?
over the road. That no, when we came in, he's over the fucking road. It's a shithole, isn't it?
It is.
Everyone's like, who's been in there? It's a fucking shithole.
Yeah, it is. It was. It still is. Fucking. But we were in there, and I remember being down the block for that long. I was in a cell. I was just conditioned, and there was a guy next door to me. This is what happened, right, Liam? It's fucking sad as it is, mate. It's sad. There was a guy next door to me. He was just being lifed off. He was only 22 years old. There was a guy to the right of me as well. And what had happened? These two had made a pact with each other that they were going to end their life. Fucking right? I'm in the middle of them, right? Like the bells went off, the alarms were going, screws were at that door, screws were at that door. I didn't know what was going on at this time. Know what I mean? I found out the next day that these 2 kills had hung themselves and they'd lost their life, know what I mean? And the screws couldn't do enough for you down the block at the time. We were a miles by, you're okay, checking your flap, you're all right. And I just sat on my bed and just thought, I can't fucking carry on like this no more. I've just had enough. And I wrote this letter to a probation officer. It was a Pulitzer Prize winning letter about like wanting to change and can I get help, and the only reason I wrote that letter, I'll tell you why. After that experience of them 2 kids killing themselves, the screws gave me a phone call. And I remember the only person I wanted to call was my mum. I hadn't spoke to anyone for over a year. I hadn't had a letter off anyone. Spoke to my mum. And my mum, as soon as she heard my voice, she just started sobbing, you're okay, I love you, what's going on? And I didn't realise that anyone cared.
Yeah.
And I had this lump in my chest that was starting to rise, and I had these 2 screws standing next to me. And I thought, I can't show any feelings here because it's a weakness. This is where I come from. I can't show any feelings. And, she said, look, son, you don't have to say nothing. Just I know you need help. Just ask for it. And I went, okay. I had tears welling up my eyes. And I walked back to the cell, just clenching my teeth, because I didn't want to blink, because I knew they'd be coming down my face, and these would be, in my mind, these would be laughing at me.
Weaknesses, yeah.
Yeah, they shut the door, and I sobbed. I sat on that bed, and I sobbed, and I thought, fuck this. And I wrote this letter, and a probation came up, and he went, look, there's an opportunity of a rehabilitation. I was like, okay, I'll take it. And that's when my life started to change. I got out of that prison and went straight to a rehabilitation, and that's when Thailand was on the cards.
So the first time in Thailand, we were speaking about this earlier, and it's a fucking shock to the system. The heat, the lights, just everything about it. Just tell us about the first time when you stepped off that plane and what it was like when you got there.
It was November 2005. I got off.
Were you going for travelling though? Is that right? Just travel?
Yeah, we were going for 3 months travelling. A friend of mine encouraged me to go to Thailand, and showed me the idea and said it was great. The beds were boss, the food was amazing, it was tropical, it was cheap. Come along. And the only time I've ever read asylum was I read a book in prison once called The Damage Done by Warren Fellows.
Scary book.
It was a scary book, and I remember reading that in a British prison, going, "Fucking hell, I'm glad I'm over here and not stuck in there."
Yeah,
you know what I mean, in one of them places. And we went over and I got off the fucking plane, and it was November, and the heat was intense. It just hit me as soon as I got Don Muang Airport.
Yeah, Don
back
Muang,
then. Yeah, it's not there now, is it?
On a pump now, isn't it?
Yeah. I got off at Don Muang Airport, and we went straight to Kozan Road. Got a room in there.
What place?
Yeah. Didn't know anywhere else to go. We just went to Kozan Road, got a little bit cheap B&B, and then went travelling down to Pattaya, and we found ourselves up north in Chiang Mai, and that's where my life changed.
When was the first time then that you spotted the Thai boxing or a Thai boxing gym? What did you see? Did you see some fights first, or did you see a gym and thought, you know what, fuck, I want to go?
No, it was probably probably when I went to Chiang Mai, and I only got in the ring to impress this Japanese bird. I was seeing, because I was one of those, telling, and I was a great storyteller. I'd tell you the story about like my life, and I couldn't contain anything about myself, and I'd tell you everything. And this girl went, "Why don't you get in the ring with this guy?" She's like an American Japanese, half American, half Japanese. "I want to see you fight." "I mean, mate, don't get in, lad. They'll break your ribs."
Oh, did you fight a Thai, were it?
Yeah, it was a Thai. I've never fought a foreigner. I've never, ever fought a foreigner, except a spar once by a Swedish kickboxer, and he knocked me out. So I got in, it was a Thai. And I said to you earlier on, he was standing there, ready to get in the ring, and he was drinking fucking whiskey, and he was smoking cigarettes, and he was covered in tattoos, and he was about this big, and I thought, I'll smash him to pieces. Because at this time, I was in recovery, right? I was clean. I hadn't used for a long time. I don't smoke. I was eating well, and I was training really hard. And I was in the prime. I got in the ring, and he fucking ruined me within 2 rounds. His knees were coming at me, and I didn't know how to defend myself against anything like that. Yeah. Boxing, hands up, parry, step on the back foot, and get away from it. But this was totally different.
Had you been actually training in a Thai boxing gym, or you just jumped in for a fucking hell?
I put a pair of shorts on. I had to pay for the fight. I had to pay to get beat up. I put a pair of shorts on and just fucking jumped in the ring. And this is what I did, Liam. I always say this. I never went to a camp and learned how to kick or to use my elbows.
Did you just like self-teach yourself?
Yeah,
as you went
I just got in the ring, right, with all these poor kids. They were poor kids, right? They were poor, and some of them were nice guys. You know what I mean? Who had families, and it was like you've got prostitutes in Thailand, and you've got Thai boxers. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Thai boxers and prostitutes. You're either going to pay the bills somehow. You know what I mean? So
well, these guys are fighting. That they are literally fighting for survival.
Yeah, they're prostituting their bodies. Yeah, it's just the same way as the girls are. I'd get in the ring, and they took a liking to me. I became a novelty because
you were taking 3 or 4 fights a night, weren't you? At some point.
But you know what it was? Because I was skint.
Yeah, I
had no money, and I was fighting for tips. So they said to me, "Here's the tip box. If you walk around to speak to the foreigners." Right, and most of the time I'd be strong arming them. Yeah, I see we've just been in there, this kid, manipulating them and getting, and because they're tight, they are fucking tight. The foreigners, lad, they are minge bags. I say foreigners, we're talking about us. But yeah, so I'd fight, and it wasn't heavy duty. It was all like, but it was exhausting. Yeah, it was exhausting, and I learned a lot from those early days. I learned how to, okay, you're not going to get. When you're getting kicked in the ribs, Bill, your elbow goes in between your leg, lift it right up, you know what I mean? Putting your foot down, little steps, take it easy, bow bow, which was like go light, you know what I mean? Or knock. Because I learned how to speak a little bit of Thai, because they were hitting me hard, and they were going, and I was hitting them hard, and they're going, oh, bow bow, bang.
Bang.
Yeah. So I enjoyed like that experience, and they were teaching me. And they're teaching me some dirty moves as well. They were teaching me some really telling me to put a bottle and rub it on me shin and get a callus on there so it's solid, and that was painful. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was painful. I tried that for a little bit, but I just stopped. I just thought I'll just take the kicks there in my shins. You know what I mean?
So, how long had you been in Thailand for then before you started getting into a little bit of trouble out there? Because you said before you buried the yabba that you started on out there, were it?
Yeah. Say, went over there and I say the first 3 months we were backpacking. That kind of came to an end and my friend went home. He said he'd come and I went, no, I'm staying here.
It's fucking very easily done when you're in Thailand, that as well.
I was young. I had no ties back in the UK. So I decided to learn a new language and adopt a new culture and stay there. I had a little bit of money I was going to survive. That ran out, but that's where the tips and the fighting came in. I had a few fights where I was getting paid on bills, not much, but it was enough because yourself, it's cheap living out there.
Yeah, you can live very, very cheap out there. If you live a standard lifestyle, you can live very cheap.
I was living. Literally, I was living on less than 1,000 baht a day.
Easily, that is quite easily done.
So I was getting a room for like a tenner a day. I had a room, transport. You know what I mean? Get a massages for 150 baht. So it was luxurious to live as well. And as I started getting involved, it's like there's an old saying: if you sit in a barber shop long enough, you're going to end up with an haircut. Yeah. Right. So I'm sitting in a fucking bar, right? Because this ring is surrounded by bars, for little girly bars. You'd wait for your fight, you'd sit there and go, can I have a water? That water turns into have a Red Bull. You know what I mean? And then I met a girl. She couldn't speak English. She was Thai. The relationship was like based on a dictionary, right? And I wear my heart on my sleeve. I fell in love. I didn't understand like the affairs of the art back then, especially with the Thai ladies. You know what I mean? One boyfriend, 2 boyfriends, it didn't matter to them. Yeah, no. But I found out she had another boyfriend. It broke my heart. Yeah. And trying to explain to her at that time, look, this just broke my heart. And she was like, Mike, how's I don't understand.
I don't understand.
And I was like, look, where I come from, it's either me and you and that's it. Not me, you and your gig.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And she was going...
A gig means basically it's a bit on side, doesn't it?
And it was quite normal for them. Yeah. But for me, it really hurt me. So it kind of like, she left and I've left sat in this bar with all these feelings now, right? Yeah. So this is where it started to really affect me. I'm clean, right? I'm what you'd call like, I'm clean, but I haven't got the awareness or the recovery or the tools to deal with like the affairs of the art. Yeah. So what do I do? I'm sitting there and I order a whiskey. And I remember that whiskey was sitting in front of me for about an hour. I'm staring at it. I'm in loads of pain, feeling rejected and hurt. And I thought, fuck it, just have that and it'll take away all these feelings. I knew that wasn't the solution, but there was a part of me where I was fighting with myself, just have it. And I knew there'd be a consequence. And the fuck it's just coming, and I picked it up and I remember just swinging it right back, and that was it. I was gone. Yeah. I was gone. I'd phoned up this other lad who I knew had relapsed out there. I said, let's get some cocaine. Fuck it, man. Let's go.
How long have you been clean for here at this point then?
I've been clean for about 2 years.
2 years? Fucking hell, it's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, well, 2 years, yeah. 2 years just fucking, like, just white knuckling it, basically. You know what I mean? I white knuckled it for a couple of years. Can you imagine being a couple of years clean? Yeah. Right, it's brand new in recovery. You've had decades of using. Now, there's
you
a story.
Must be fit at this point as well, fighting 3 times a night and stuff. You'll have been in good shape, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you see what I was really like. I was physically fit and that. And you got to understand, like, when you stop taking drugs, right? If you use drugs for a long time, when you stop taking them, you become the age you are when you started them. Yeah. So I started, say, 15 years old. So when I stopped, I had this like this underdeveloped like awareness of growing up. I was that age. I was 15, so I was like a teenager in like a body of 30 years old. Yeah. So that was it. We wanted to get cocaine, we couldn't get it. We spoke to this lady boy stand on. You know, there's loads of lady boys stand. Yeah. They know where to get anything. So we just said cocaine. She went yaba. I was like, what the fuck's that? Never heard of it.
Yaba, it translates to crazy drug.
Yeah, yaba, crazy drug. So we get on the back of, she gets on the back of my moped. She takes us to these apartments in the back streets of Chiang Mai. Right, we're going down these alleys. It's quite scary. Yeah. You know what I mean? And takes us into this little room. And we go into this room, and there's about half a dozen Thais sitting there playing cards, smoke filled. the atmosphere is quite like daunting. And she went, sit down, I'll be back. And she come back with a few of these pills, these red pills, WY on them. And I don't know what the fuck are these? You know what I mean? She went, I'll show you. So she smoked, she put it on a foil, a little tube. I don't want to go through well, yeah, I will, just so people know. You know, it's like you inhale this smoke that's like, it's like a tablet that you put in a foil that turns into an oil and you inhale it.
It's basically crystal meth, isn't it?
Yeah. Methamphetamine in tablet form, crystal meth. And the feelings it was getting from it was like just souped up crack cocaine. It was just bang,
instant hit.
Everything, you're alert. Everything, everything's fucking on fire, tingling. And I liked it. I'm not gonna lie, I liked it at the time.
You even ended up fighting on it as well, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I did. I enjoyed it, and it was cheap. It was easy to get. We ended up in Burma that night. We got on our bikes, me and this kid left the bed with the fella, with the lady boy, back in the apartment. We had these two 150 bikes that we bought, bang, flew over to Burma. Went right through the border and bought China White. That was the scariest experience, you know what I mean? Trying to bring it back across. Well, China White, for anyone who doesn't know, it's pure heroin. See, I go in for the kill me.
Yeah, all or nothing.
All or nothing, right? I'm extremist. You know, I have a drink in the morning, I'm smoking heroin again.
Yeah.
It's not a joke addiction. Yeah. And we get back, uses that. That's it. I'm on this fucking merry-go-round. I'm in the grip of addiction. Obviously, fighting to pay the bills, fighting to feed myself, fighting to fund the habit I've developed. You need fucking more fights, more money, you know. And I was taking items. Sometimes, right, I'll be honest with you, right, I remember I was getting paid for a big fight. To me, it was big because there was crowds there, and it was money, it was a competition. And I remember 2 rounds, right, I'm fucking battering this kid and battering him, right, I'm really going for it. And I'm throwing everything at him. He's not going down. He's just covering up. And I know what he's doing. He's waiting till I gash.
We discussed this earlier. Yeah. Like the ties will start slow, and then round 3-4 they've gone. And so
3 of this kid's waiting for me to gash, right? And I've hit him, bang. And I thought, I've got nothing left in the bank here, right? He's going to fucking batter me, right? So what I did is when the bell went for the 3rd round, I faked that my hand was like I damaged it. There was nothing wrong with it. I was just didn't want to get back in. I never had the heart. You know what I mean? I was fucked because like I wasn't training, and I was okay for a couple of rounds on this drug. Yeah. But then that wore off pretty quickly, and I wanted to get out the ring. Right, and the sides were kicking off on me. You know, you no good. I was like, I fucking know I'm no good, mate. Yeah. You know, I fucking know I'm a piece of shit. I'm not really. I don't know, and that sort of like they didn't want to get me in the ring anymore. Yeah, because I was just I was in a mess. I wasn't good for them.
Around this time though, you actually got you've been telling me about this, yeah. You got pulled in as Sylvester Stallone's stuntman in Rambo 4.
I tend to forget that to be honest. That was prior to all of the relapse. Yeah, I was in a gym in Chiang Mai training, and a casting crew came in, and he took all the names and numbers of the non-Thais, all the Westerners, and he said they were casting for Rambo 4, and would I be interested? Of course I'm interested. Fucking Stallone, he was my hero. 2 weeks later, he gets a phone call. Billy, we need you to be Sylvester Stallone's stunt stand-in. I went, oh, fuck off. I'm not having it. Who is it? Come on, who is it? Is that you? Is it? Yeah. He went, no, serious, Bill. Mrs. blah, 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 will you meet us at the Royal Orchid Hotel at 5 a.m? I thought, 5 a.m?
I'm getting set up here.
Someone's right. Yeah. But it was playing, it was in my head, and I was like, this could be real, you know. So I got to the Royal Orchid, I'd say about 3 o'clock in the morning, you know what I mean? I was that eager. And at 5, there was a bus waiting for me, and we took us to this location, and just close to the Burmese border. And he said to me, Billy, you'll be on Unit 1 with Sylvester Stallone. I went, oh my God, are you serious? Sylvester Stallone stunt standing. I don't look nothing like him. He said, no.
Did you know about doing stunts?
No, see, I had nothing. See, like, people think a stunt standing is like you're doing your stunts. It's not, right, Liam? Okay. Let's. I'll clarify this. I'll clarify this for your guests and that. It's basically when Stallone can't be asked doing anything, like standing there holding his arrow, right, and all the lighting and all the shadowing, right, and then they pull me out and they put him in.
Right.
It's just a stands in, babe. But that's what it's classed as. So I felt like Stunt stands in. I'm Stallone Stunt stands in. So I've done a little bit of that with him. And,
I still introduce myself as that to this today. Hello, I'm Sylvester Stallone Stunt. Nice to meet you.
Well, it was on the roll call, Billy Moore, Sylvester Stallone Stunt stands. I was fucking over the moon. And his manager was a Scouser, Kevin King Templeton. Quite bizarre. And I support Everton, but I had a Liverpool top on. I don't know why. I didn't support anyone at the time, but I had a Liverpool top on because it represented the city where it came from when I was in Thailand. And they love Liverpool over there, don't they?
Liverpool and Man U, that's the two things I love over there.
And Everton at the time was like Chang. It was sponsored by Thai beer. So I had the top on. Kevin King seen it and went, "Where are you from?" I said, "Liverpool." He was, "So am I, Crocky." So I got on with him. I said, "Oh, get us a picture with Stallone, let me." So he introduced me to Sly. He actually came to see me fight, right? He actually came to see me fight in Chiang Mai Night Bazaar, right? And he come up to me, "Hey, yo, man, you're a warrior, man." I was like, fucking hell, because I had an head on me like a box of oranges, right, Liam? I've been fucking battered. I won 5 rounds. How the fuck I won, I don't know, because I was just keeping my hands up. And it was against a tall kid. And my head was like a fucking box of oranges. And he was like, "You're a warrior, man." But it was great. It was a great experience. I enjoyed it. And then it ended, and they all went back to Hollywood, their lifestyle. And, you know, I was left to my own devices. And that's when the relationship with the girl, I ended up, like, picking up drugs. And I'm in this fucking criminality world now in Thailand, which is not a good place to be.
So that obviously spiraled into ending up in the jail in Thailand, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
What were you actually in the jail for? What and how long did you get? And just what happened?
See, what happened was I started selling this yabba, just to foreigners, going to like these clubs called Spicy.
Yeah, Spicy. I've been there a few times in Bangkok. What a place that is!
So there was a lot of foreigners, and I met this ex-police officer called Pinong, and he said to me, "Billy," in his best English, "you know, I get you tablets, you shelter ties, and we make a profit." He said, "The reason being is you can communicate." So, okay. So, and plus I was getting my own, I was funding my own. So that was the circle I was getting involved in. So I started going and selling low level to foreigners in clubs. And you know, it kept me head above water. I was my own best customer. I was using more than I was selling. And I started to feel as if I was like bulletproof initially, and then I started to get really paranoid, and I started buying phones and swapping phones and selling phones just to keep ahead of the game. I was that fucking skinny I could hang glide off a Dorito, you know what I mean? I ended up losing all my weight.
Like a jockey's whip.
Oh mate, I was fucking paranoid. I was looking under the door. I could see eyeballs everywhere. It was just freaky gear. And I bought this phone, and I was talking to the Thai boxers. And I know the kid, Nindam, you know what I mean? And he's slippery, you know. So he's phoned me up one morning, and I've woke up out of a stupor, and I'm half asleep, and I remember this quite well. And his number's on me ringing, and I thought, "Hello, hey, Billy, you left your trainees in my truck." I went, "Okay, yeah, no problem. I'll get them another time." He went, "No, I'll bring them round to where you're at." And I was still half asleep. I told him the address I was at. And I put the phone down, and I thought to myself, "Nah, mate, there's something not right here. Why is he ringing me
about a pair of trainers?
About a pair of trainees that I've left in the gym, and that he wants me address so we can drop them off." Straight away, you know, I knew I'd made a mistake. Yeah. Right, I knew it, right, Liam. I opened my door, and there was like 4 armed police running up the stairs. They weren't like, they were unmarked. You could see. And I thought, fuck this. I was on the top floor. I shut the door, and this is no word of a lie, right? I had about just under an ounce of Thai stick weed on me, right? Yeah. And I bought loads of tablets in straws, all set out. I had a gun, which was a Colt 45. Loads of fucking weapons, stun guns. You can buy them all over there.
Yeah, them off at markets over there.
Yeah, all the throwing stars, samurais, the lot. I had a room full of weapons and no enemies in my mind. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, put these drugs away. Why the fuck I had a pair of Speedos on? I don't know. Right? I had a pair of red Speedos on. I can't even remember having them on. But I was grateful I did, because I threw this Thai weed. I plugged these tablets, and for anyone who doesn't know what plugging, I fucking shoved them right up my ass. Right, so all these tablets. Didn't have time to get the weed up there. I'm sitting there with me back against the door, and I can see this gun on the bed. I'm thinking, oh my God. The door's going, right? Police, open. And I was like, I knew it was the police. I was going, no, I don't believe you, who is it? Trying to stall for time. And I said, throw your ID under the door. So we threw this card under the door, and I looked at the ID. I knew I didn't even need to look. I just threw it back. And I thought, what am I going to do? There's no windows to nothing. So I just opened the door. They rushed in, had me on the floor. Bam, bam, bam. Few slaps. Found a gun. I thought, this is it, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. Phones on the table, weapons. Took me to the police station, threw me in a cell. It was dark.
Did they find the shit you'd plugged?
No. Not a fucking thing, right?
Yeah, because that'd be fucking big trouble.
Yeah,
Wouldn't it?
You know what, mate? When it comes to drugs, anyone who's a drug addict, who's ever had
9 year sentences and shit for that, aren't you?
Anyone who's ever had a problem with drugs knows that, like, the last thing police are going to get off you if you're using and you're clever is your fucking drugs. You know what I mean? Wasn't clever enough to get not to get caught. So I'm thinking, fucking this gun, it's going to get me a big sentence over here. These weapons, they kept. I did remember about him. He had his knee on my neck going, "Hey Rambo," that's what he said. "Hey Rambo," what you fuck. And when I didn't even know what I was charged with. I was in the police station for 3 days.
Did they try you and stuff, or
no,
just straight in jail and that's that?
But straight to jail, right? The shackles put on me that weighed 3 kilos. They were like welded onto my ankles. There's totally difference over there. I had a pair of long pants on, tracksuit pants on. They took them off them and ripped the legs off them, so they were short. You can't have long pants, and no top. So I was like, fuck hell, you know what I mean? What the fuck going on here? I was in this prison now for 3 months, and then I found out what the charge was. I'd been charged with handling a stolen mobile phone. So I'm thinking, that's not fucking bad. I said, what happened to the guns and what happened to the weapons and this, that, and the other? He went, they probably took them. This is the brief that he had. He said they probably took them.
It sounds about right for Thai police though, because if anyone's had dealings with the police in Thailand, they are corrupt as they fucking come out there. I was telling you earlier, one of them stole my passport off me and made me buy it back for 5,000 baht. That's the type of shit you're dealing with out there. So any money that you had there, any guns, anything else, that'll be straight in their back pocket.
Yeah.
And that'll be.
Well, I was relieved. I thought, that's it. I'll probably get a little walk out and that'll be fine. A phone, handle a stolen phone. That can't be bad. You know what I mean? The guns are learned that like the maximum sentence for a gun in Thailand was 9 months.
Is that true?
Fucking 9 months.
Hell.
Right, 9 months. Because every fucking Tom, Dick and Harry's got a gun out there. Well, you know that.
There's a lot of Thai trainers at the gym at Jitty's where I used to, and a few of them used to walk around with them just sticking out the jeans. Yeah. And I used to think, what the fuck? But everyone just got. I've
had a few of them fucking fire shots at me over in Thailand. You know what I mean? When I've been especially in a few gyms when I've been running around and I've been off my cake and and I've had bullets whizzed past my head. Liam, it hasn't been nice. I bring it all on myself. I'll take responsibility for that. But I'll tell you a little story. Before I got arrested, I was buying loads of Yabba tablets from Lao because it was cheaper. Yeah. So I was getting them loads. So
how much are you looking at for a tablet then?
You're looking at over in Lao. I was getting them for like 80 baht each.
It's about £1.
Yeah. Right. You could sell them. Right. I know it's like you could double your money in Thailand. You know, you get double it and plus a little percentage. So I remember buying 1,000 Yabba tablets in Vientiane in Lao. Went over. Now I'm forgetting now that the Thais and the Laos drive on the different side of the road. So rides a bike. I'm going to the only fucking nightclub that's in the country. Crossed by the Mekong Delta. And someone whistles me and there's this lady boy whistling. So it looks. No, you do. And these 2 motorbike taxis were coming towards me. And I only seen them as soon as I turned, they were there, right in my face. Smash. She crashed into me. The bike that I was on, it was a Honda Wave. It went right in the air. I just felt all kinds of pain. I found out that I had a handlebar embedded in my stomach.
Oh, fucking hell.
The chassis had landed on my chest and crushed my ribs and punctured my lung. I had all kinds of internal bleeding. Blood was coming out of every orifice. It was fucking horrible. And this Irish kid was screaming, get him to an hospital, and threw me in this... I didn't have any friends over there, I was just on my own. Threw me in this wheelbarrow, and the hospital was 5 miles away. I got fucking rushed in this wheelbarrow, blood all over the gaff. And I put on the floor in this mattress, and I couldn't breathe, Liam. I was like... I was just taking short...
Is this in Lao or
this is in Lao? This is in Lao. And I've got these tablets in my pocket, right? And these two soldiers come in with AK-47s with banana clips sticking out of them. And I was like, well, in my mind, I was thinking, why are these two here? Has someone told them I've got these drugs, have I been blew up? They come in with a camera and took a photograph of me and then left.
What for?
I don't know. I just think maybe if I died, right, that's what there's a picture for the end. I don't know no idea why they did that. You know, they never asked me my name or nothing. They just took a picture and fucked off. I said to this Irish kid, I got my breath, I said, get me out of here. And we went back to Chiang Mai. And he ended up in the hospital for 3 months. I had 2 surgical procedures in Thailand. And then, you know, obviously I went to prison then. And my first night in Chiang Mai Central Prison, now you've got to understand this, I'm walking in with shackles on my ankles to these big huge gates with 2 lions either side, right? This is my first foot, fucking 2 big lions, these big gates, going right through them, and taken to the shell with 80 inmates, right? It looked like a mass grave.
Everyone's lying all over each other and shit.
Mate, they don't care.
Yeah.
Fucking arms and legs on top of you. And I got slept in between this guy who died the night before.
Fucking hell.
And this lady boy called Tiffany with a boob tube that said...
I remember that from the film, that, yeah.
No money, no honey, right? Right. And like, you know, the lady boys, they speak pidgin English, and they go, I like your brown eye. And I was thinking, fucking, I don't like you. I like your blue eye. I hope you don't like the fucking brown one, girl. Got this little bit of Zeman shorts on, right, with the fucking big crazy sausage hanging out of it. And I swear, lad.
I'll tell you what, though, as well, if anyone don't know about what the ladyboys in Thailand as well, they could fight like fuck as well as that.
Vicious.
They have very, very vicious, very...
Oh, no,
you hear some right horror stories about them, like luring people in, then robbing them and beating them to death and all sorts, don't you?
I nearly had a few fights with them in prison. Yeah, but yeah, you know, I was in the cell, and we had a bowl of rice, sticky rice, between 5 of us. So we were in groups of 5, eating a bowl of sticky rice, and this chicken feet soup.
Oh, I see them all eating that in gym and stuff like that. But I always think that's fucking awful. Is it as bad as it looks?
Mate, it stinks. It stinks. And I remember putting my spoon in a bowl and pulling out half a chicken head with its face and its. I was like, "You're fucking messing, aren't you?" And this guy just dived at it and just took it, and it was just that was just a really like austere experience initially. It was quite barbaric. Yeah.
How long were you in that Chiang Mai? Because you moved to Bangkok, didn't you?
Yeah, I spent a year.
Your full year in Chiang Mai?
I spent a full year.
Some fucking horrendous shit that you've seen up there, weren't they?
I spent a year in Chiang Mai. That's where, see, most of me fighting in the prison competitions was. I was fighting a lot within the prison because they were talking about me and I couldn't understand what they were saying, and I knew they were talking about me because it was quite venomous, you know, and I was confused, so I'd react, and I'd end up throwing a few takes and getting battered.
Have you just started? If you kicked off with you, were they all just fucking jumping on you?
Yeah,
you were
it's
like foreigner
they say that there's a saying, it's called mamu, which is like a pack of dogs.
Yeah,
it's not like a 1-on-1. They fucking just all jump on you and just, you know, especially a foreigner.
Yeah.
So I took a lot of violence. I've seen a lot of people getting fucking raped and murdered and fucking. You know,
but that just openly done in front of everyone.
This was like it was taken to a side, and there was like they used to make tents, you know, like and like fucking sell the bodies for cigarettes and stuff like that.
Fucking hell!
So it was like a city within a prison. You could buy your food. I had no money for food. Something, you know, I'm grateful for prisoners abroad. They supplied us vitamins and minerals and.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, because the diet you can't have been getting your fucking nutrition from chicken's head.
No, we were getting protein, but I ended up selling them.
Yeah.
For drugs, you know what I mean? And like I ended up like a year in
really easy to just get hold of them in there, because you heard the stories about how easy it is to get like the fucking drugs and stuff inside the jail. As soon as you got in, you could just keep using straight away.
Yeah, it was more pharmaceutical kind of medication. It wasn't like you got to remember, I come in to prison and I had an addiction to that China White.
Yeah,
and the yabba. I was a total mess. I ended up on tramadol in the prison.
That's it's a very addictive drug.
It's easy to get, you know what I mean? Yeah. Tramadol and diazepam, I was getting them, and I maintained a habit on them, like for a couple of months with the money I was getting from prisoners abroad, and I was buying, and I was in debt. I ended up struggling to pay a few debts, and then I got transferred to Bangkok. Because I'll tell you something, I was quite a bit of a loose cannon in Chiang Mai. I was always down in a segregation in the Thai compound. I was even put on death row for 3 months on my sentence there.
What was that like?
So you can imagine, like, I'm doing 3 years. I got 3 years for handling a stolen mobile phone.
Yeah.
I was in trouble a lot in normal population. The commander of the prison said, look, send them up to Hong 5, Hong Ha, which is the 5th floor. That's death row. I'm in a cell with yet another 80 Thais who were all ready for execution.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Lovely, very serene, very peaceful, quite strange, quite odd. And I'm in that cell, and the only person in that cell that was a foreigner was this kid from Australia, Jason Minzer, his name was. And he was in for raping a 2-year-old girl.
Fucking hell.
And he was a fucking big, good-looking kid. He was big, muscular kid, good-looking, blonde hair, Australian, right? You think you'd fucking find him on the beach. And I was like, what the fuck? Why the fuck would he... What's wrong with these people? So I just seen him as a ghost. I wanted to fucking hurt him.
Yeah.
I really did, Liam. I wanted to hurt him. It's not like over in the UK where they're segregated and put on protection.
They fucking throw you in.
They just throw you in with them, and the consequences of attacking someone is greater than fucking. So you'd end up in there. I know kids that have been put in these hung soys, which is cells, under stairs, and I've been put in them myself. They're like what? I'd say they're about 4 foot high, 3 foot wide, and you're in there for a while. You know what I mean? And sometimes you put in cells with like another 10 people, and you could get fucking gang raped by them. I know kids that have been in there and come out and have been gang raped, and the light in their eyes is gone.
Yeah.
So you hear all these horror stories. So it affects the fact that you want to do something. So I just kept away from him.
Yeah.
I stayed up there for 3 months. It was fucking the most depressing time of my life. I wanted to end it, and I remember asking this Thai kid to sell me his laces.
So you could fucking hang yourself.
So I could get up, and he went, it's against the rules. I went, what? Every morning 10 rules got shouted out.
Yeah.
Right? And one of the rules was that you couldn't kill yourself. And I went, who's fucking asked? Who's going to know?
Yeah.
He went, well, what happens, Billy, is collectively as a cell we will get punished.
Right.
If another member of our cell ends their life. They used to have 24-hour watching on. When you're in a cell, they used to have a guy every hour on the hour sitting watching over everyone in the cell.
Fucking hell.
Right? And they never asked me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I fucking ends up fucking dead. But I'd be hanging off the bars by when you all woke up. But yeah, they used to have like an inmate watching over every other inmate. And so that was just Chiang Mai, you know what I mean?
When did the Thai boxing come into this then? Is this already in it?
No, this is it. I'd see this. I ran out of money. I was in debt.
Is this Chiang Mai or Bangkok? This happened in Chiang Mai?
It happened in fucking both places. But it ran out of money in Chiang Mai. I couldn't pay debts. These missionaries came up and they helped me, right? I remember another fight, another altercation that I'd been in. The commander, his name was Officer Preset. There's an officer that plays the part in the film. He took a liking to me. He said, "You're the Oscar De La Hoya of this prison." He said, "Why don't you join a boxing team?" I went, okay, I'll give it a go. But every time I went to join, they were like pushing me away. No, mad Frank Bar, crazy, go away. Well, I just kept turning up. In the end, I knew he loved cigarettes because he was smoking like a trooper. And he had enough to buy a sleeve, so I took them. So he accepted the cigarettes, opened the gate, and he just left me. All the ties left me, I was on my own, I was on the back, bam, 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 bam. kick banging away. They were all looking at me a bit curious. And that was again, that became my escape, became me way out. And I went there every morning. I stayed all day. And there was a festival called Songkran was coming up.
Yeah, that's fucking brilliant. Thai New Year, that is.
Thai New Year. So they had, it was like it goes on for 3 days. And what happened was, they had prison fights. And the trainer said, he said, Billy, you want to fight this kid? I went, okay, yeah. This other kid in the prison, so, you know, he said, well, you know, I think you're ready. So we got in the ring and I fought this kid, and he was he hated foreigners, you know what I mean? And it was a lethal fight, and I beat him, you know, just about. It was like, I think it was the third round, bang, I caught him, round the jaw, and he went down. And all the sides warmed to me, like, because I was the underdog, and they all warmed to me, and they moved me into their shell, and it became like a team. It became like a camaraderie ship. They were all treating me as an equal. I was eating their food. I was breaking bread with them. They learned me to speak Thai.
This is what I'll happen. You have to like win the respect of them, don't you? Because it's the same as like when I've been in gyms in Thailand. When I've first gone, they'll try and just fucking rip you to bits. And if they think that you show any sign of weakness or anything like that, they either won't want to know you or they'll try and bully you over. And I'm guessing that's how it was to a fucking the worst extent there.
I'd say my first 9 months there was quite vicious. Right, it was quite vicious. And then they started to show me a little bit of respect. And put past a Thai Billy, Paulina. So they started learning me a little bit of and I do it by like fucking sign language. There's a cup. They go like gao, you know what I mean, and cha, you know what I mean, nam. So I was learning word for word. They said learn 5 words a day, memorise it. So every day I learned 5 words, and before I knew it, I could understand what they were saying. And that was another fucking problem, because they were calling me all the fucking all the scumbags under the sun, and I understood that they were calling me that. So that I reacted to that. And I got in one more too many fights in Chiang Mai, and then he shipped me out to Bangkok.
How many Thai boxing fights did you have in Chiang Mai jail before you left?
I'd say about 7.
7?
Yeah, so it was like...
How often were these shows? Were these like one a month or something like that?
These were like, because you're there for a while. Most of them were into prison. So they were just prison ones. See where they took me in the film to another prison? It never happened. Right, okay. That never happened. They never got transported, right, from one prison to another prison.
Right, so you're just fighting people you know in the jail then? Yeah,
fighting people you know in the jail. You know, it does not happen. Foreigners don't get taken out of a prison to fight and represent Thailand. It's drama, it's a movie, it looks good, you know what I mean? Yeah. They reenacted that scene as it was, but it was in the prison, and that was the scene on Songkran where I won that fight, right? So it was quite good for the drama and stuff. But yeah, so we had like a few fights there. I was training every day, I was training hard. Got into a little bit more of a trouble because I needed more surgery, so I was taking medication, and on the sly I wasn't selling everything. I felt embarrassed because I started taking drugs again. Yeah. That led to me getting transferred to Bangkok.
Right, was that as brutal or worse, or
that was much worse.
Much worse.
So you got 4,000 inmates.
You hear about the fucking the horror from Bangkok.
You've got 4,000 inmates in Chiang Mai prison. Big, right? The biggest prison in Europe, right, is Walton, Liverpool, with 1,500. Believe that. That was the biggest prison in Europe, right? You got 4,000 fucking inmates in a prison, right? Half the size of Walton prison, right? With 80 people in a cell. Right, gets transferred to Bangkok. There's 20,000 inmates. There's 3 prisons within the compound. Bombat, the women's prison, the hospital, La Diao, fucking massive. It's huge, right? You go through about 5 gates, right? We got there at they picked me up right out of an hospital. I went on that surgery in Chiang Mai Central Hospital on my stomach, right? I tried to escape, right? Straight up. This is a funny story, right? They take me to hospital, right, after this fight. I'm all fucked up. This is because of the injury. I'm just keep fighting on injuries, and I shouldn't do it. So I'm in this hospital. I'm on the 7th floor. I've got these shackles on my ankles. They put these bandages around the shackles because it's making noises, and I'm in a room with other patients. I've got a guard, right, who's 12 hours a day. He's sitting in this office at the very end. He's not even coming near my room. I know this. I've been there for days now. He comes in once a day and goes... No, like does this like You run, I shoot you. I'm fucking sad. Gasping for a cigarette because I'm smoking like a trooper by this time, right? Had no ciggies. It's like, what? Gets up, goes for a piss, sees the exit door, goes down the stairs, all the way down to the bottom floor, opens this door, this exit door, and there's a little grass fade, and all these guys are on the floor having little picnics, smoking cigarettes. I go out, bum my birthday. Think, fucking hell, this is alright, no one see me, smokes it, goes back. Sound. The missionary comes up to see me, she leaves me 1,000 baht to buy food through the week. Nice one. Gets up in the afternoon, goes down them same stairs, out the door, and then goes out the fucking hospital. Got these shackles on, right? This is straight up, like, Liam. I go straight to the chemist to buy 100 tramadol, right? No messing about here. Got 1,000 baht to buy 100 tramadol. Go next door, I buy myself 20 crunk tip cigarettes and a bottle of whiskey, right? Party time, right? Gets back, I'm fucking panicking as I go back, right? So gets back into the hospital, and there, fucking smoking like a trooper, fucking drinking this whiskey, fucking I'm in jail anyways, who gives a shit? I've had all these tablets now, right? They're all gone. I'm just like speeding off them now. Fucking had that many. And I was like about 2 o'clock in the morning for fucking I'm going. I'm going to make a break for it. Going for good this time. Goes down the stairs again, out the hospital, climbs over the chain link fence because the main gate.
Still got the shackles on here?
Yeah, still got the shackles on. I've got a fucking big bandage around my waist. Climbs over into the streets like, this is, I shit you not, I'm walking down fucking these little soys in Chiang Mai. Loads of stray dogs running past me, you know how it is. And it's like walking for hours. And I'm thinking, Billy, where the fuck are you going here? One, you're going to either get shot, right? Because you can do that, right? You're going to get shot on sight, right? Because you're an escapee, or you can get 25 years, right? No shitting about. This is what was going through, man. 25 years or shot. What options have you got? Go back, Bill. Go back. You can't fucking steal a bike. You got shackles on. You can't. Where are you gonna go? Fucking border and just try and get these off. You just knew it was just a bad fucking decision. So he gets back. A couple of hours later, no one's seen me. I'm back in bed. The next morning, he takes me back to Bangkok. He takes me from. They come and pick me up from the hospital and take me to straight, right? Put me on a bus with 60 other ties, right? Straight to fucking Bangkok.
Still
right?
all fucked up and...
Right, get on this, right? I've got a bottle, right? A bottle with a fucking plastic tube sticking out of my stomach. Sitting there, right, with no flip-flops on, in a pair of pyjamas, on a bus.
Fucking hell.
For 13 hours, right? 13 hours in the heat. Now, the bus is like a open bus mesh.
Yeah.
Everyone sees you. You fucking... The sun's beating down on you. And I was there for 13 hours in the most fucking, like, it was the most inhumane way of transporting someone, know what I mean? Surgery on a bus, 13-hour journey, marched into this cell in Bangkok and put on this room, right? I had to sit in the middle, right, of this floor, because, you know, there's no beds.
Yeah.
You're sleeping on the floor. I had to sit in the middle of this floor because all the room was just chocker with ties lying down. I sat there all night holding this bottle, right? Just the most uncomfortable fucking position you could be in. Couldn't lie down, I couldn't lean against nothing. Sat there until the morning. And in the morning, I begged and pleaded for them to put me into the hospital. They put me in the hospital. I got fucking battered in the hospital.
Off?
Off 3 ties. Because I was hungry and I robbed a piece of bread. Right? I robbed a piece of bread. And I remember getting this over the head with this chair, and I was still fucking...
Just try to eat.
I was on the floor, right?
Yeah.
I was on the floor, I was eating it. I was getting this on the back with a crutch, on the head with a chair. I was fucking starving, mate. I'm starving, not arsed. Then they moved me out of there. They just knew straight away I was trouble, you know what I mean? So now I'm in normal location now. Took the bandages off, got these staples out. There's a few foreigners in there. There's 1,000 inmates on our unit, you know. Right, and just on our wing, one wing with 1,000 people on it.
What so when you're going into a new wing like this, what did you have to do to try and... Did you have to like fucking show that you weren't going to take no shit or anything like that? What were you... What went through your head? Or if you did that, would you just get eaten alive by all the time?
Nah, you get eaten alive. You would get eaten alive, Liam. It was fucking a different ball game there.
Yeah.
There was loads of Nigerians.
Yeah, they're right for selling drugs there in
There's loads of
Bangkok.
Nigerians and Tanzanians and people from Lagos and Laos, and they had the monopoly on it. You know what I mean? They were dishing up the food. I tell you, my brother, go away.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're like, look, I need some, get away. And I had all that, you know what I mean? What is it that you want? So they were all on the monopoly, they were selling the drugs. So, you know, I ended up back in addiction. Due to the, you know, I just thought, I can't face reality.
Yeah.
I can't face it no more. So I was using like a fucking, like I don't know what.
What were you on here with these prescription again, or just
I was on Ziazis, fucking Natrazepam, fucking Valium, anything.
Yeah.
Right, you can heroin.
Yeah.
I was buying heroin as well. Anything just to fucking escape the moment.
Yeah.
And I think I went through that for about a year. Right, it was the last year of my sentence which started to get easier for me. So 2 years of my life was fucking horrendous. Apart from the time it spent in the Thai boxing.
Would this happening in Bangkok as well?
There was no Thai boxing in Bangkok, you know.
No, only in Chiang Mai.
Yeah, no Thai boxing.
So literally nothing you can do to take your mind off what's happening other than take drugs. Escape.
There was no fucking gym. Yeah. The only weights that they had was 2 paint pots with a brush pole through it and a bench made out of wood. Right, that was your fucking. They call it Nakila. You know what I mean? There's your gym. And you know, so I'm fucking owing these Nigerians money. I owe these Thais money. Now what opened my eyes, right? There was like a HIV infected gang called Samurais, and they had all syringes and they were injecting themselves with heroin, and they were threatening, you know, people, you know, with fucking a death sentence of fucking HIV. Yeah. Like, they don't care, you know. They don't care, and they fucking, it's frightening.
Yeah,
it was frightening, mate. It was. I remember this young kid, Thai kid. He was to be about 26, and he's running, and he's screaming, and it was like in slow motion. It was like the scariest thing I've ever seen whilst I was in there. And he run past me, and as he's running past me, this kid come running from the side of me with a chair and smashed him. Like a wooden chair, metal chair with a wooden seat. Smashed him across the face. He's gone down, right, and hit the deck. And the kid who was chasing him had this big knife. It was a knife. Yeah. It wasn't like a razor blade with a toothbrush. It was a knife, and he stabbed him right in the back, in the neck. I seen it right, go right through his neck and come out the other side. And it wasn't like in a frenzy. It was all death shots. Yeah. It was like calculated, and it was horrible. And he just kept doing it. And I lost count of how many times he did it. But there was a crowd of about 50 people, and they were all screaming, 10 cow and car man. And I knew enough Thai to understand that they said stab him and kill it. Yeah. It was like, it was no value. That kid was like the screams.
It's like a piece of fucking meat, just there.
Liam, the screams that were coming out of his body were in your mane. Yeah. They were in your mane. I'd never heard. It was animalistic. Yeah. It was horrible. They left him in a pool of blood. They put him on a trolley and marched him out to prison. Just rolled him out. And I watched that, and it was from me to you. And like the kid who was doing, our eyes locked. Yeah. You know what I mean? They locked for a moment. It was like
fucking scary. It was
scary.
Shit, yeah.
And I replayed that in my mind every single fucking night for weeks on end. I remember kids come running out, and I remember a kid with HIV come running out of the office, stabbing himself in the chest and then in the neck, and then he took himself hostage. How could you take yourself hostage? He took himself hostage, right? There was blood squirting all over the place, right? All the screws come running out of the office. And you know what was that? I'd been conditioned. I'd been there for years by this time, and I was conditioned to just fucking let it be. Yeah. Right. What the first thing on my mind is right. The fucking queue for the hot water's gone down because everyone's looking at him.
Fucking hell.
This is how
over there. That's wow.
See how it's like fuck off straight there. That's how my mind became.
Yeah.
And it was say I got. The death was getting that bad. I was getting threatened with the violence and death and subjects of fucking rape. People fucking flattered you. They want to rape me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Fucking hell. So I begged these missionaries again, and I'm grateful to these missionaries, good people, but I just took advantage. They were just good people. I took advantage, and they paid this debt and said, "That's it, Bill. We can't help you no more." Yeah, it was a lot of money. It must have been about 10,000 baht. I've been inside prison. Liam, it's a lot of money. You see. Paid it. I had nothing, no money, no food. I was clean this time. No one fucking shaved me anyway. Yeah. And I didn't want to use. And I was walking around the prison just trying to get exercise, hungry. And I seen this group of inmates, and they were eating, all Muslims, and they were eating in this fucking lovely food. And one of them noticed me staring and went, "You want to join us, my friend?" I said, "Please, yeah." So we sat down, He said, first we pray, and he done this. I had my hands like that, that's what I know, you know what I mean? He said, no, we as Muslims, we pray like this. I said, okay, I'll fucking pray any way you want. Yeah. So I had this food, and it was wonderful, and it was a joy to the stomach as well as the heart, and he said, I'll come back tomorrow. And he went, no, my friends, only Muslim brothers. So fucking man, I'm going to be a Muslim. Got off a sarong and a skull cap and changed my name to Yusuf Muhammad. I didn't know anyone called fucking... I was going to call myself Muhammad Ali, but because that's the only like Islamic name I knew. Yeah. But I knew a kid from Bayaz called Yusuf, so for fucking Yusuf Muhammad. So I just mixed up. Yeah. Blends it. And you know what? They never batted an eyelid. Yeah. But they fed me every afternoon. I just had the sarong and I had to pray. Yeah. Right, until they just said, look, Bill, we want you to move into our cell and pray 5 times a day. I was like, fucking hell, you're joking, are you? I just want a bit of food here. He said, no, you're a Muslim, now you have to do a shahada.
Did you do it?
Yeah, so I done a shahada. So I was ashhadu alla illallah wa ashhadu anna. So I done the shahada. I never had a clue what I was saying. I learned the Quran, right? So I'm now in a cell, getting woke up at like 3 in the morning to pray the Fajr, and I'm going to Juma on a Friday, and I'm learning. But my perception of like Muslims is like bombers and murderers and this. So I sat down and talked to them. You know what? They were the most loving, caring people I'd ever met, right? They helped me, they supported me, they fed me collectively as a group.
Do you think they saved you in there?
They did. Yeah. They did in a sense, and it was like the boxing team. Collectively as a group, I felt safe and supported. I got into a group. It's not a gang, right? Because they weren't gangs. You could get in gangs and you might feel safe. You know what I mean? But I wasn't that gang type. I wasn't involved. I was very isolating, a very isolated person. I couldn't communicate really well. I didn't deal well with foreigners. I had fights with them all the time. We argued. There was a lot of different nationalities: Americans, Australians, Swedish, Dutch. There was different nationalities. Just didn't get on with any of them. And so they fed me, and I survived. You know what I mean? I survived. Never had no idea what I was doing, but on reflection, it saved me. It saved me life, and it kept the engine room alive. And then it was time to go.
You mentioned about how you just had to be conditioned to all the mad shit going on around you. How was it when you got back out into just a normal world, trying to like live as a normal person, again after seeing all that fucking mad trauma every single day on day? What did you have to do? Did you have like PTSD and shit like that, or?
Well, I went straight from, I'll tell you what happened. I went from like Lad Yao in Bangkok. I got transported to Wandsworth prison. I spent 8 months in Wandsworth. As soon as I got to Wandsworth, I told him to take the mattress out the room. I slept on the floor. Really? Because that's what I'd used to. It was fucking freezing. It was March. I'll tell you what was happening. It was the time where the red and the yellow parties, the fucking Bangkok was on fire. There was loads of trouble going on at the time.
Yeah, with all protests and shit like that. They were fucking crazy, that was. I was there for a bit for that.
Yeah, it fucked me, what's the name up? My transfer date. Yeah. Because I was supposed to go to the airport, that new airport, and there was all people protesting outside. So we delayed. I thought I'm never going to get back to the UK. And then gets back to Wandsworth, and I don't know, mate. I just sat there and I thought I couldn't speak to anyone. You know what? Right, this is the truth, right? I was very, very subservient by this time. Cap. I was half Thai, half English speaking. Yeah. Sweaty cap. Like, and I was doing all this to the screws. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Yes, sir.
Oh, totally.
Because like you've got to be below them, right? So I was like, and they were like, no, look, more, just calm down. You're gonna be all right here, safe. They had this fella with a ponytail coming in doing card tricks and asking me questions and it's PST and all that stuff. I didn't understand what he was fucking. I just thought he needed help, not me. I ended up getting a job in the gym and just this is how I got through it. I was in the cell in Wandsworth and I wrote one piece of paper down. I had loads of stuff that I'd written in journals and smuggled it out. And I remember writing one A4 piece of paper of my experience, and I showed it to an education member of staff. And she looked at it, she went, "You need to write a book." Oh my God, how powerful is that?
This is where the book came from. Yeah.
So what do you mean? She went, "That is absolutely amazing." She said, "I felt I was in that situation. I was there with you." I went, "Really?" And I thought, she's stroking my ego. She went, "No, you need to write." So okay, what else to do? You know what I mean? So I started to write and I wrote loads, pages and pages of it, all in pencil. Writing to publishers, I've got a story. No one's going to fucking believe this. It's the true story of one man's fucking incredible journey from fucking desperation to isolation and all that stuff. You know, Sylvester Stallone's in this story, and you've got fucking Thai prisons and guns and boxing. And, oh my God, it's incredible. You're going to love it. Yabba, drugs, isolation. For fucking hell, you know, this is amazing. So everyone was rejecting me.
Really?
Yes. Really? Not for us. And then this guy in Thailand, American guy, he said, look, I'll have it off you.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's okay. Give me a time scale.
Did you write it all yourself as well?
I sat there, Liam, right?
A lot of people, they'll get like ghostwriting.
Nah, bollocks, mate.
I can't. A few stories, but I get people doing it from. Did you do it all yourself?
Bollocks, mate. Yeah. I sat there, right, and I poured my fucking sweat, blood and tears, right? I'm proud of the fact that I wrote that myself. Yeah. I edited that myself. That story's mine.
Class.
Right? It isn't like I haven't sat there and said, do us a favour, mate. Will you write this for us? I want to tell you it.
Yeah.
No, mate, I fucking wrote that. And do you know what? Right, do you know why it sold well? Do you know why it did as good as it did, right? Because it attracted people because of the honesty.
Yeah.
I wrote a book and said, look, my biggest fear was falling in love with a fucking fella with tits called Tiffany. Yeah. Because when he bent over in that cell with a little thong on, right, and then looked back at me, I really thought it was a bird. I thought, that's it, right? The fucking dreams are fucking being answered here. That was my biggest fear, right? My biggest fear was telling people that I changed my name to Yusuf Mohammed, right? Yeah. And telling people that I got fucking battered. Because I was thinking, no one knows that I can write a story and invent a fucking great fucking drama here. Oh, I fucked him up, I bent that cell door and bent these bars, but bullshit. Yeah. I got it over the head with a chair, I saw fucking stars, mate. It hurt. So I thought, I'm going to tell the truth. And I was cringing writing it. I thought all my mates are going to judge me. They're going to laugh at me. But I thought, no, don't. And I wrote it and went, yeah, there it is. And he went, that is an incredible fucking story. Right? The honesty, the openness, the rawness. We love it. I went, okay. And then it got published. And then it got published by a UK author as well. 6 months later. And then it went into a bestseller. Which was incredible. Yeah. Fucking wow. It's a fucking international best-selling book here.
When did the film come around then? When was this shortly after? Or?
Yeah, it was shortly after. Because I got fucking like sure fucking changed on everything me right in the beginning. I wasn't savvy in the industry. I never had an agent. Yeah, my fault. So I wrote this book, £500 advance. I was fucking great. I didn't expect it to be a book. Never mind anything else. Yeah, and then you get royalties. The royalties were quite poor, even though it was selling well. Then it went. I seen this Liverpool firm that wanted to. They were producers, and he wanted to. I went to them. I seen this little sign that said Hope Street Films in Liverpool, and I thought, I'll knock at the door, and they refused. They refused to speak to me. Yeah, oh, not for us. I said, can I speak to the manager? He's not in. Speak to the manager, come back tomorrow. So we kept coming back. We came back, and then I went, yeah, I've got a book here. I'd like you to read it and let me know what you think. And he said, okay, we'll take it off you. They were just fed up with me knocking. 3 months later, he said, look, fucking shit down, we need to make a movie. Yeah. I was thinking a documentary would have done me. Yeah. Made a movie. They said, we want to make a movie. And I was thinking, wow, has all these names. I think, well, I know, I don't think, when I say I think, I know. Charlie Hunnam, Sons of Anarchy, he was on board for a year. I'm glad he never took the role, because I don't believe it was for him. Yeah. He can act in his way. But then Joe Cole got pointed out. We had Jared Leto, we had Shia LaBeouf, we had all these names. I was like,
fucking mate, that must be surreal, that.
Yeah, I think this is mental. People want to put money in, fucking hundreds of thousands, in fact millions, into my life story. I was thinking, wow. Then Joe Cole, the director, like he said, we'll work together to get him. We'll work with the producer, we want him. Joe was keen, he was eager, he wanted it.
Peaky Blinders,
Gangs of London. Yeah. Brilliant. Powerful performance in the film. And it came together, it came to fruition. We had, you know, it wasn't easy. It was like a script, to get a script off the book, which wasn't too hard. And that was written by a great guy from America. And then director was French, brilliant guy. Producers Indochina, UK producers, Indochina producers, all coalition. And then it just became what it was. We had great actors from Thailand, some like Kam Singh, world champion Muay Thai boxer.
You know what? He just basically played himself, drinking and smoking every day, didn't he?
Basically, yeah.
Legend.
And I got a role as a cameo, and my dad died of cancer. And you know, the last 10 years of his life, we'd kind of made up, and we you know, for all that youth, I love my dad, you know what I mean? And it was sad to see him go. And he died of cancer, and the director said to me, he said, you know, would you play your dad in the movie? And I was like, what? He said, you know, I said, he never came to visit me. He said, but in this film he did. So it was okay. So I'm standing in the Philippines because I couldn't get back into Thailand. So we filmed in the last scenes in the Philippines. I was there for 10 days. And he said, I want you to play your dad, and Joe Cole's going to be you. What would you say to your son? What would you say to a younger you? And all I wanted to hear from my dad was, I love you. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know, and that was it, really. I couldn't even get that sentence up. So I said nothing. And the director said, that's it. We don't need to say nothing. Words, fucking, that's just powerful silence. Yeah. And but I tell you what's ironic, right? My dad died of cancer, and I was diagnosed with cancer whilst I was on set.
Really?
So I had stage 3 cancer whilst I was in the Philippines playing this role. And my dad gets back to the UK, has surgery on my neck.
No, is that what you were on about earlier? Your surgery, right?
I had a tumour in my neck. I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 3. So I'm on chemotherapy. Right. I was 16 stone. I went down to 9 stone. Lost all my hair. I was fucking ready for the big hit. Showed me, I had nothing. I was massively in addiction again, right? Because of the medication I justified the fucking cancer. But fuck it, who's asked? Gonna use. So I'm taking it to another level. And then I've spent all my money, my car, my house, my girlfriend left me. I had nothing. Sitting in the hospital thinking, right, I'm just going for the answer now. And he went, but I had to tell you, Mr. Moore, you're going to be okay. I went, what? What do you mean I want to live?
I just fucking ruined my life here, man. What are you on about?
He said, you're going to be fine. I went, you're meshing, mate. I've got all kinds of fucking bills here. Yeah. He went, you know what? Well, at least you need to pay them. Yeah. And that's, but that kind of like led into other things. But yeah, so that was it. Yeah.
Now, obviously, you're clean. Yeah. Don't drink. No. You've got your own podcast as well, which I've just been on. Yeah. Where do you see this going? This is what you want to do now in these podcasts, because you've been getting some good views on them, haven't you? Yeah. Is this where you see you doing? Do you really enjoy this?
Yeah, I do. You know what? I enjoy it. People have been asking me to do something like this for a few years, and it wasn't really for me. You know, I think I'd been a guest on James English's show initially. I'd been on a guest.
You've got him on yours, haven't you, as well? Is he one of the only people he's done an interview for you?
Yeah. James is fucking great. He's encouraged me from day one, and I've got loads of respect for him. Stu, Geordie, Brian, and Lawrence. They big views, big views. You know, prisoner, Thailand, great story. People are interested in drama and you know, a hardship story, basically, you know what I mean? And how did you fight for survival? Now, I've suffered with mental health and cancer and meningitis, and I've been fucking on Jeff's store and fucking silent and Lao and all this stuff. How the fuck did you survive, Billy? And I said, you know, all I did was just kept breathing. I just kept breathing, kept moving forward. I've never took an antidepressant in my life, right? I don't believe in it. So where was you? Looks at me trying to afford then. What was you?
We're on about your podcast.
Oh, podcast. Yeah, it's called Billy Moore's The All or Nothing podcast, and I've had a few good guests. I'm quite diverse in my guest list, really. I've had yourself, which is, you know, I'm really grateful for that. I've had boxers, comedians, actors, friends. And yeah, it's great views. The subscribers are going up.
Got your brother on as well, haven't you? Yeah.
My brother's got autism, Joe. And I don't say he suffers with autism. I think he's blessed with it. Yeah. He's the most beautiful, innocent soul you could ever come across. And for years, he was in my way of everything. I was embarrassed of him. I was ashamed of him. It's sad to say this, but he was just there, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And then it was one day and I realised that, you know, while I'm looking on Facebook or Instagram at someone else's fucking roast dinner and liking it, I've got the people who love me sitting next to me, who I'm taking, like, not a blind bit of notice to. And he went, Bill, you know, I love you. And I thought, oh my God. I put the phone down and I started doing things with him. Took him to boxing clubs, got him involved in fitness. I spend a lot of time with him. We do a lot of charity events. He's just an incredible fucking... He's obsessed with, like, if you tell him something, he won't let go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a big unit. But yeah. So yeah, I've got a podcast. I'm involved in an organisation called Weapons Down, Gloves Up with Tony Bellew and Jamie Carragher's supporting us as well.
Class.
And that's going into schools, talking about, doing interventions. You know, it's just reaching those hard to reach kids who are struggling. Try and be a bit more of a benefit to the community. I've ruined and took the piss out of my community, and I don't believe that's something that I wanted to do. It's something that I was driven to do because of I was influenced by a lot of other substances. So I've been clean for over 3 years. I'm into my 4th year now, abstinence. I've just had a baby boy. Now I'll tell you something, right, which is a miracle. I was told I could never have kids. I had cancer. I got told to freeze me sperm cells, and I didn't because I couldn't be asked. I was 42 by this time. I'm 48 now. I had my first child last year.
Oh, congratulations,
right?
mate.
He's 9 months old today, right? And he's a little lump, and he's just absolutely incredible. And I love the bones of him, you know. And a big shout out to Michelle, my missus, because I never do that.
Yeah.
And it's important that I do because she thinks I don't fucking care, but I do. So yeah, my life has evolved. You know, all that past traumatic stuff has brought me to this place of wanting to give.
You've got all this experience now where you can help others with, aren't you? So that's a fucking amazing thing, really. Yeah. If you can stop people going down the road of drugs and all the bad times you've had in your life, if you can even just stop one person doing that, then it's amazing. It
is, and I think we're blessed with a few short decades, you know, in life. We're here for a few short decades, and then we're gone.
Yep.
Right? You know, I was watching you in your prime. You're fucking 35 now, right? 10 years, you're 45, lads, you go. That's
it, I know, mate. But we've got a shelf life, mate.
Yeah, we have got a shelf life.
Enjoy it.
But you have had an incredible, you know, and like, I'm surprised I haven't heard fucking much about you before, because I've just been trapped in my own self-obsessed fucking way of thinking, you know, and I've watched a lot of your stuff, and I think, wow, fucking what a fucking true warrior. You know what I mean?
No,
you are.
You, mate.
No, it is.
Thank you.
And I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, mate, I've loved this. Just before we wrap up, Billy, do you want to put out your Instagram if people want to follow you, or your Twitter or anything like that? What can people follow you on Instagram?
Yeah, it's Instagram, and you can tag me in it as well. It's because it's a fucking big one. It's Billy Moore _APBD, which is a prayer before dawn, the initials. That's so that, and you've got like Facebook. It's like a council estate. Fucking, I don't really go on it as much. And Twitter is Billy Moore APBD. That's a good account as well. That. You can follow. And my YouTube, it's Billy Moore, the All or Nothing podcast. You'll find some great guests on there, like yourself, yeah.
Yep, mate. Massive thank you for sharing that story. It's absolutely incredible to see where you are now, family, and doing all your thing and working with kids, etc. It's amazing, mate. Thank you for sharing that, pal. And yeah, mate, have a good one, because that is an incredible story. Prayer Before Dawn. If you haven't seen the film, get on it. Buy the book. And get on Billy's podcast. I'll
finish on this before we finish, right? Because I've got another book coming out.
Yes, plug that.
Yeah, I've got to plug this. Yeah, I've got another book, right? And I read this one myself again, right? No fucking ghostwriter. Read it myself, right? Unfortunately, I read it in a prison cell again, right? But I keep writing books when I go to jail, so I don't want to write a trilogy. But this one's called Fighting Back, and it comes out in the next couple of months. Great story. It's a follow-on to A Prayer Before Dawn. It reflects on A Prayer Before Dawn, but it also tells you the story in the last decades of my life, because I've my last 10 years after A Prayer Before Dawn was quite chaotic as well as. So I hope you enjoy it. It was enjoyable for me to write, so I'm really grateful that you give me the opportunity to plug that as well. Thank you.
Not a problem, mate. Massive thanks again, and we'll see you all again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.